Hey there, Drawyah here, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today we find ourselves in a premiere, we know fly in the real world, and today I fly with the Isle of Scilly Skybus on a flight from here in Land's End to St Mary on the Isle of Scilly. So, in the real world, this route's flying with so it's Isle of Scilly Skybus. They operate two aircraft in their fleet, either the Twin Otter or the Islander. And this flight, iOS 2.5, is I've flown with either Twin Otter or Islander, and since we have Twin Otter and I love the Islander in Flight Sim, we're going to do this again and again. So, like I said, today we're flying to Isle of Scilly. It's a 20-odd minute flight from here to there, so it's not a very long flight indeed. Weather-wise, get a bit bumpy, so definitely get ourselves prepared for that. Otherwise, we'll jump in the cockpit, set the aircraft up, and prepare ourselves for our short odd flight today. But let me tell you, very excited for this trip. The Isle of Scilly Skybus is owned by the Isle of Scilly Steamship Company. So they own both the airline and all the boats to the island, and essentially they offer a day trip package of about £60–70, where you fly one way, you fly from Land's End to Scilly, and then in the evening you then go to the boat. You then take the boats back to Penzance, so it's a two-way trip, one-day trip, and take flights there and the boats back. So again, very excited for that indeed. Right, so the first thing we need to do is turn on both the batteries, so battery generators come on, and the avionics system, and the radios. The avionics will go through its self-test setup, so that'll take a few seconds. If we jump over to the Garmin GNS 530 system, we're now going to set up our flight plan for today. It's a very simple route, shouldn't take us too long to set up. So we'll jump into, first of all, the directs out of our departure airport, which is Echo Golf Hotel Charlie, and then we'll go from there. So select cursor and scroll to Echo. Then to Golf, then to Hotel, and then to Charlie. St Just, Land's End, perfect. Enter that, airport and activates. Let's jump down to flight plan, and let's start now with the rest of flight plan. Before we do that, we might as well start with the passenger boarding process. So I'm going to start a flight, departing from St Just to St Mary's, 5.25, cruising altitude of only 1,500 today, very low cruise. Flight time, 20 minutes on the clock. Departure in about 5 minutes, again a very short little flight this. And our aircraft type will be an Islander, BN2B Islander. There it is. And passenger count today is 8, so an almost full house today. No Wi-Fi, no entertainment, no boarding music, no safety briefing, no snacks, no meals. And with that, let's start boarding. Cool, so plug in our departure airport, that's fine. Our first waypoint is going to be Kogok. So it's Kilo, Oscar, Golf, Oscar Kilo. There we go. And after that we fly to Lanlo. So Lima Alpha, November, Lima, Oscar. One thing I do like about these old Garmin systems is the predictive waypoints there. So if I go to LAN, okay, it's not quite found Lanlo, but essentially you can scroll through Lanla, not quite what we're looking for, Lanlo. So actually it skips a few letters that don't exist. So you go Lanlo, Europe, Great Britain, that's what you want. Cool, so user, so St Just, Kogok, Lanlo. There's one more waypoint, which I'll arrive at levels of Echo Golf, Hotel Echo. Echo Golf, Hotel Echo. So Compton Abbas, Maypole, St Just we're at right now, and St Mary's, no Echo Golf Hotel Delta does not exist. Enter that, airport select, and we are good to go. Jump back to flight plan, and you can now see our route has been input. Only a short little flight plan, only 2 waypoints plus departure arrival airports. We're departing on runway 25, arriving on runway 32, so actually these runways are good for us, what we're looking for. Yeah, that's about it really. We've got another departure procedure, so if we scroll down to departure, enter that, enter the runway number. Non-reported, doesn't exist, okay, fair enough, that's fine, we'll just skip that. I can't imagine there's too much in the way of procedures for both the departure and arrival, so we'll just, like I said, we'll stick what we've got. It's not going to cause too many problems. So yeah, we've boarded, passenger on board, we get the flight plan set up, we'll secure all the exits, make sure everything is shut, looking good. We'll jump over to the lighting panel now, make sure all the lights are set as required. So we're going to need the nav lights. We won't have parting lights, yes, text lights fine. Cabin lights, no needs. What are you to the bottom there? Beacon lights and strobe lights, neither of those are required just yet. Actually, beacon lights are on now, so it's about to go through the engine startup process. And yeah, let's get ourselves ready to go shortly. So go and fly an IVAO. Not there's going to be much in the way of traffic out here today, I don't think. It's only a small airport. In fact, speaking of the Twin Otters, there's a company Twin Otter in front of us and a company of Islander in the hangar over there. So, company of company jets. The airline's based in St Mary. I can imagine that they'll keep aircraft in England and the UK just because there's more availability for repairs and parts and that kind of stuff on the mainland. So that's all good to go. We are now ready to start our engines. Back to the overhead, we are going to start with the engine number 2. So fuel pump comes on, engine fuel valve on. Make sure that everything is on, so maxed out on the throttle panel. So make sure that the feathers are set, make sure the props set. About 10% of throttle, keeps some power going. Activates magneto number 2. And engine 2 starts. Looking good. We can take the second magneto and cut the fuel pump. Just going to make sure that the engine starts up properly. So temperatures will start to increase. Our temperature will go into the green shortly. We can increase a little bit of throttle just to help with the all of the engine and oil. Pressure as well starting to build up. Looking good. Back to that 10% throttle. We'll now start engine number 1. So fuel valve and fuel pumps. Magneto 2 starts the port engine. Magneto 2, fuel pump off. Close the guards. And just once again, check the engines and make sure that everything is starting up correctly. Cool, so fuel pressure on 1 and 2 are both in the green. COL temperature, that's still warming up, that can cause problems for us. Both oil temperatures in the green. And our pressure also in the green. Perfect. I'm going to reduce the throttle now. We're going to activate the taxi lights. Release parking brake. That's ever so slightly started raining for us, not problematic. Also, we could grab a weather report for departure, make sure everything is set up correctly.
Winds 290 at 16 knots.
16 knots, gosh.
2008 visibility 10 kilometers. Ton dew point 8 degrees Celsius. Feet. Temperature 15 degrees Celsius. Winds 290 at 16 knots. Clouds at 2.
Sound altimeter 1013, that's standard altimeter. 6 knot headwind, that's going to be quite an interesting one. But in terms of the runway direction today, runway 25, departure runway 32 arrival is looking good. So release the parking brake. And let's make our ways over to the runway. So make sure that we're set to unicommon frequency so we can contact with ATC as required. Right, let's get going. So once the decimal lights set, push a standby set as well, on the back up. Perfect, so a right hand turn. taxi along Bravo. Which is only a small little dirt track, but yes, this is the taxiway. Yeah, and these are on to the end of runway 25, so we'll go for an immediate departure route. Flaps set to take off. Quickly announce over the auto unicom that we are about to depart from runway 25. Right, that's all set. I have to say, for freeway scenery, this is a very detailed little airport. This worth a download. Worth a download if you can like to find this region. So we've announced our takeoff intentions. That's fine. Runway's hours. Increase throttle, about 42%. Keep an eye on both the port and starboard RPM. Engines 1, 2 in the green. Let's get going. Let's be live. Rotate. Static gear. So there's nothing for us to retract on this departure. There we have it. Isles of Scilly Skybus. 525. Now on its way to Scilly. Make a left-hand turn now. Get ourselves onto the course. Maps up. Remember, we're only cruising at an altitude of 1,500 today, so for the most part, we are almost there. Set altitude 1,500.
1,500.
Autopilot on.
That's good.
Set heading 220.
Setting heading 220.
Right, so I'm hoping that will get us onto the course. Inbounds to Kogok. Back cruise, we're going to cut the throttle back slightly, adjust the feathering. There we go, that should now be optimum for cruise. Like I say, I do adore the old Islander. Fantastic aircraft, very rugged. Does its job like a champion. Scrambled aircrafts, I do adore it. So yeah, we're on our way to Scilly now. Keep an eye on both our flight plan and pathing, just to make sure that we can get ourselves, or keep ourselves on course. That's the big important things. Last time when I flew from Barrow to Glasgow, I did miss the league off, of course, a tiny bit, and did get a few mentions in the live chat from that about my pathing. So yes, so I'm going to work on that on today's flight. Keep ourselves on course as much as possible. It's not a difficult trip. I mean, 220 onto a course of 270 from Kogok, and then from there we'll essentially kind of fly our own heading south of the airport, right hand turn, and then make approach over runway 32. So, like I say, nice and simple. Nothing for us to worry about today. I must admit, the weather certainly not concerning, but interesting. It's like this in real life when I do fly on Tuesday, aka flying right now. I don't know, I have high hopes for it, I have high hopes. So now reaching our first waypoint, we'll get ourselves ready for the right-hand turn. At least according to the GNSS, we're going to reach the first waypoint shortly. In fact, there's the airport right there, you can see the light right on the coast there. Volanta, a little bit behind apparently, interesting. We'll get ourselves onto the waypoint and then we'll make the right-hand turn. And by me, I mean the co-pilot. Having him doing a few things for us today. Right, set heading 274.
No problem.
Having the track on there makes our life a little bit easier. Just allows us to set exactly what the radar tells us to. And keep ourselves going on that. So 274, right-hand turn. From Lando, we'll make a left-hand turn, heading, I presume, about 250-ish. Get close to the airport, and then make our own course in. Right. I mean, yeah, I could do GoPro views, not really much to look out of. Passive left and right hand views, not too much to look out of again, it's all just water. But we will get ourselves a replay going as well for the landing, as that's always a bit of fun to do. But really, it's just a case of keep myself concentrated, since we're not too far now from the approach and landing, which we'll be ready for. As for the Apple scenery as well, I actually have bought the Aerosoft Isle of Scilly scenery. They actually released it only about 2 days ago, so we kind of have a first look at that. But yeah, I'm making use of the Aerosoft scenery today. It's a shame that Aerosoft never released their Twin Otter, at least it's still in development, and I released it for it because I need it. We'll get FlightControlReplay up and running. The last two flights of Loganair were in Twin Otters, and the flight I'm doing right now is in a Twin Otter, so it just makes sense that to be able to do this flights and videos in the Twin Otter, it's almost a shame to have not had the opportunity yet, but I'm sure as soon as Aerosoft do release it, it's going to be one of the first things we do. Learn the Twin Otter, jump in it, and then do a few flights, presumably in Loganair, because that's got so many fun little routes. Well, so many fun little routes, only got really one route, is it? Glasgow to Barra. But I will have a look for some Twin Otter routes, some kind of short, hoppy, fun ones. Set heading 254. We'll get a few of those kind of up and running, but yeah, so that's kind of the fun of it in the Twin Otter. It's a rugged old aircraft, and let me tell you, it is a rugged old aircraft. A lot of fun flying that the other week. And so, I don't know, regardless of flying both, I could fly an Islander, I could be in a Twin Otter right now. That could be one of the other scheduled to be a Twin Otter, but looking at the flight list, it can get changed out virtually as an instance. And that's the thing, other thing to notice as well. You book a flight ticket, you never select a seat, so you could really be in one or the other. There's no certainty that you're flying. It's performing for us very well, the Islander. I've used it for a couple of flights, used it for a couple of streams as well, and it's up there with one of my favourites. It is up there with one of my favourite add-ons in the sim. You saw there, it's just so screenshot friendly. Angle about, take a few snaps. Just can't get wrong with it. Right, so we're going to start thinking about breaking this course now and make our own approach into the airport. So we'll go for a slightly more southerly heading. So have a look at it on the map. Yeah, so we'll go for maybe a 210 perhaps. We'll start with 220 and go from there. Set heading 220.
Setting heading 220.
Make left hand turn, break away from R254. That's interesting. I was talking about issues with the heading indicator before. Is it kind of 180 on the 20? Is that the issue I was having before, and that I was actually misreading the dial? So instead of actually reading it from the top there, the area at the bottom. So, okay. That explains a lot. So I was having a few issues, quite issues with the island of Rust, some of its heading indicators before. It looks like I may have just misread it. Fair enough. You learn something new every day, I guess. That makes sense though. That does make a lot of sense. So, that's your heading at the bottom there. You just read it the other way around. Okay, I'll be sure to remember that. Huh. Let's carry on our flights. Guess I was going to approach the runway 23 side. Sorry, runway 32 side. So we'll carry on. We're going to think about making a right-hand turn soon. Well, I say soon. We'll give it a few minutes and be a right-hand turn heading 270. Then a right pointing 320. And then from there, autopilot off, make descent, and bring it into land. Hopefully the boat trip back to Penzance, and given that this is the Atlantic, hopefully it won't be too rough. Well, spend a bit of time in St Mary, spend a bit of time in Hugh-town. I could probably walk around the entire island in a couple of hours, it's not that big. And then, yeah, put myself back to the mainland. That's the thing again, if you get a chance, 670 quid, it's a day trip to the Isle of Scilly. It just seems like a fun little way to kill a day off. Not sponsored, I just like travelling. Right. So reduce speed, not yet. But we'll take this right hand turn, I think, now. Set heading 23 negative.
Okay, done.
Set heading 270. Set heading 270.
Setting heading 270.
There you go, that's more like it. Yeah, you've got to be careful, Drawyah. Make sure you don't start talking on top of one another. Because with VoiceAttack, you can set like a little delay in the chat. That way you can just catch up with what you're saying. So I need to get myself a visual of this runway now from the 230 side. It's going to be interesting. I need to get myself kind of here. I'm looking at a map. As well as... I'm sure you don't have any procedures with the runway available for... I'm sure you've got a runway for me to input. No, nothing. Okay, that's fine. We'll keep at it a little bit longer then. See flashing lights, but I don't see a runway. Ah! Aha! There. That's our runway. Right, so give it another 30 seconds or so. If that, And then presumably, well, switch off jaws pilot and then just bring the aircraft into land. Pilot off. Climb control. Starts our descents. Reducing throttle. We're a tad bit above the glide slope, but nothing the Islanders that's not capable of. That's one. There we go, that's two. Gosh, we're really having to cancel this crosswind, I must admit. Gonna crab like crazy on this approach. Come on, Islander. I know it's a struggle, but you can do it. Keep the aircraft steady, keep some power going, keep it above the 60 knots mark. Approach speed wise is perfect. There's some headwinds. Just need to keep it going a little bit longer. Also, let's get more to that centre line, shall we? Ready on the rudder to kick it in for touchdown. It's almost a shame that the runway's on our blind spot there. There we go. That's more like it. Ooh, there's an uphill runway, so I guess we're adjusting for that as well. Oof. There we go. Ooh, come on, come on. Steady, 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 steady.
Gentlemen, we have reached our destination. The local time is 9:56 a.m. and it's currently about 14 degrees.
Not bad, eh?
Now you can level the bike
Not bad at all.
until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is turned
Exit the
on.
runway.
Remember to use caution when
Make way for the
opening
stand. Look, another
items may have
twatter just sitting there in the stand.
If this is your final destination, thank you for flying with us and we hope to see you again.
Since there's a follow me car parks in the standard source terminal, we'll just spin around and stand right in front of us to park. Parking brake sets. Cut the feather. And magnetos come off. And there we have it. Welcome to St Mary. Well, what can you say? That was a steady old landing, but that's the thing. We made it. We're in one piece, and our Islander definitely does take a beating before coming on down. So we'll have a look at the replay, of course, to see how it kind of looks from the passenger perspective. So that's the hefty old touchdown that. I'm going to quickly turn off the taxi lights and the beacons. Also finish the flights on Volanta. TFDi sign comes off, now passenger starts embarking, and let us stop the replay. Now that was a hefty odd landing. Not bad at all. Right, passengers embarked. Let's end the flight. 525 to BN2 BM Islander, just to St Mary, 60-minute flight time. Pan departure 34, about 38, 54, 55. Again, not real time. Passengers 8, 99 satisfaction, 108 feet per minute touchdown. So actually, touchdown rate wasn't too bad. We've got time of 23 minutes. Soft landing, quick flight, and that's our passenger list just there. So let's also disconnect from IVAO. Again, there's no traffic on the way, but it's nice to get that tracking going. And let us load the flights now on FCR. We're going to shut the doors as well, so we can be more realistic. No, not going to let me do that. Okay. What's going on there? I think it's going to spawn back at Hewtown. Do you need a replay? Yes, this is exactly what it's done. Right, quickly close the exits. There we go. Red light soft, so it's exit secured. And let's now press the play button. So, I'm going to start off with the left-hand passenger view. So you definitely see we're crabbing along, fighting the winds. The tail cam, of course, is going to be the other important one. I want to see, because we definitely got a bit of lift on the left-hand side again. I want to see kind of how bad almost that lift was. It's 108 feet per minute touchdown. It's not firm at all. That's actually quite steady on pace for the Islander. It's just this initial touchdown I want to have a look at. Was it particularly heavy? There's a sensor line, keeping it set on the rudder as well. Yeah, that left wheel definitely raised off the ground slightly, but it wasn't terrible. Certainly within what I'd call limitations. You can certainly see the rain as well on the windshield. It's time to pick up some of that. We'll have to get from the right hand side as well. I mean, yeah, that's not even how far we're crabbing. You can see the runway from the passenger point of view. So keeping the aircraft steady, keeping it centered to runway. Kick the rudder in. There's our touchdown. Could be a better touchdown, I must admit. Sense line not super well kept, so we never left the runway. So that's with some weather conditions. You're gonna have some leeway in regards to your approach. Just have a look at this from tail view. So this is going to be your forward-facing view, where exactly the aircraft's pointing. Different stages of the approach. Already you can see. So that's me fighting these 16 knot winds. Because 2.5 I believe is the preferred runway here at Isle of Scilly and St Mary. Most aircraft will land to 2.5. Sorry, 3.2, and then the part 1.4. So flying now on the same runway. But 0927 generally used during rather bad storms. So you can see we're keeping the aircraft steady, keeping it adjusted. There's your rudders, keep it on the runway. Yeah, apart from that slight lift on the left hand side there, I've done worse. I have done far worse, I must admit. Let's do the same from the runway view. Not like we'll see much from the bend. So we'll remove or disconnect from the follow mode. Gosh, I mean, look at that runway. Talk about a bump on touchdown zone. Alright, bring it back a tiny bit. And then press play. So there we come in, keeping the aircraft steady. Yeah, it's just a struggle to keep it centered, rudder, slight touchdown there. Okay, yeah, I've done better. Not terrible, but I have done better. And from the aircraft taxis to gate. And the passengers embark from there. So that was a short little flight from Land's End to St Mary. While we're here, might as well have a look at the terminal, see what that's all about in the Aerosoft scenery. So this, like I said, this released a couple of days ago, in fact 2-3 days ago. Notice there's a little control tower top there, so actually we can get another landing view from there perhaps. Let's follow view. Let's have a little terminal going in as well. There's material going in there. A few passengers modelled, of course, very nice. Just makes it ever so slightly more fun. Lay down the phone just watching the aircraft arriving. Okay, a little family having a little few photos as well. I don't know, having people in the terminal interiors just makes for a bit more life. When it's a little cafe at the airport, I'll be sure to make use of that. Vending machine just there. Little kind of viewing deck outside, a few benches. Let's take a photo. Not bad, eh? It's about £8, so it's not exactly an expensive scenery either. You got paramedic, gosh, what happened just here? Get a paramedic over. There's a little baggage section. Not bad, eh? £8. Yeah, you can't fuss it. You can't fuss it. Little cargo terminal storage bit here. Control tower. A few monitors. You got a controller. There he is. Very nice. Yeah, I can't fuss it. In fact, so I'll do one more landing view from the control tower point of view. So I'll stick it on the short final. Press play. Grab the binoculars. I've got to say, because the touchdown actually is below the, well, it's not quite below, but it's definitely on rather low, but that view there, where water goes into the water. Definitely a bit of a struggle to keep it censored, but not terrible. Not terrible. Actually, even taxiing in, we just have a look at the aircrafts from a view from here. Let's go back into the end of the runway. You can just see, even taxiing in, it's not quite taxiing straight level. The wind is pushing it to the left to right still. There is a slight sideways. You look at the suspension, left and right hand gears. This is taxiing straight and level. But the wind's definitely acting on the aircraft to push it to the side. It's a sturdy old aircraft, the Islander. It's a sturdy old aircraft. Right, and that's brings us to the end of the stream. So, thank you guys for watching. As I say, I've now got a day on the Isle of Scilly, so if you're on Instagram, feel free to follow my Instagram at Drawyah, keep track of what I'm doing out there. Otherwise, I thank you for watching. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all again soon for another flight sim video. Take care guys, have a good one, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.